Hey guys, this is 236 and Ruben here, and today I'm going to be ranking my favorite Assassin's Creed games. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion, so feel free to express your opinions in the comment section below. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. In last place, we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The reason why it's my least favorite Assassin's Creed game is because of how much it strays from the identity of Assassin's Creed. You're not even playing as an assassin anymore, and the plot is a convoluted mess that disrespects the Assassin's Creed lore. They disrespected the Leap of Faith, which was explained in Origins. They got the explanation of the Sixth Sense wrong. Assassin iconography was placed in the game just for the sake of it, even though assassins did not exist in that time period. And they also got the Animus law wrong, and there are many more things that I could list out, but this is just a ranking video, not a review. The gameplay is repetitive and boring as the map is just full of bandit camps, military camps, and forts, where you have to clear them over and over and over again. The leveling curve is steep, which causes the game to have a massive grind which is unfulfilling due to the repetitive nature of clearing forts and the enemies being complete damage sponges. Overall, the game shouldn't even have been called an Assassin's Creed game, and it was a bad game overall, which is why it is at the bottom of my list. At number 10, we have Assassin's Creed 3. There are many reasons I have it so low on my list. The first reason is how they handled Connor's character. He was naive from start to finish and had no growth from this. An example of this would be how he would make decisions that did not make sense and he would not learn from them, like how he got angry at Haytham for revealing the truth of who burned down his village. The setting of the game was quite boring to me as I did not find the world interesting while traversing the map, and the color palette used was a bit dull. This just made me uninterested to explore most of the game, and it just resulted in me wanting to finish the game as fast as possible and be done with it. However, there are still things I like about this game, which is why it is above Odyssey. Some conversations that Haytham and Connor had were deep and gave more perspective to the Templars. Haytham really carried this game, which is why he was my favorite character in AC3. The ship, combat, and upgrade system were very good innovations that led to great things in the franchise that I appreciate. But the bad things in this game still brings the game down in my opinion, which is why AC3 is at the number 10 spot. At number 9, we have Assassin's Creed Syndicate. The main reason I have Assassin's Creed Syndicate here is due to the fact that it's quite mediocre. The story was bland, boring, and went on for a bit too long. Jacob was more annoying than actually being funny, which brought down the game for me. As for most of the levels, we had to play missions as Jacob, where he messed things up, and then we had to play missions as Evie to clean his mess up. The Evie missions were not as bad, as they were better structured, and Evie as a whole was a better character than Jacob. Also, it felt very weird how easy it was for Jacob and Evie to take over London from the Templars in such a short time with little difficulty. The combat in this game felt a bit too fast-paced, which made a lot of the animations look silly and it resulted in the combat being janky. The customization was also restrictive as it limited us to only using a few weapons, which brought down the game in my opinion. However, I did enjoy most of the side activities in the game and I enjoyed leveling up Evie and Jacob. Apart from those things, the bad things in this game still bring it down for me, which is why it's mediocre at best and why it's only at a number 9 spot on my list. At number 8, we have Assassin's Creed Rogue. I really liked the idea at first of how we were going to play a game where an assassin switched over to the Templars. However, I was slightly disappointed by the actual result. In this game, the assassins acted like Templars and the Templars acted like assassins, which made zero sense. Don't get me wrong though, Shay's reason for leaving the Assassin Brotherhood is justified, but I really wonder why the Templars and assassins were not acting like themselves in this game. It also did not make sense to me why Shay joined with the Templars as he did not really agree with their values on the whole. They did not dive into this deep enough, which is quite a shame. However, the other parts of the game were much better. The gameplay elements were mostly a Black Flag copy, which I did not mind since Black Flag's gameplay was really good. I also liked the additional stuff they added like renovations of buildings and combat being tougher with more enemy variety, like the stalkers. On top of that, I had a lot of fun exploring the Arctic and upgrading the Morrigan. The side missions were interesting and fun, except for the collectibles, which were a bit too much in my opinion. In conclusion, I still had fun with Assassin's Creed Rogue despite of its numerous flaws, but the other games on the list are still better than it, which is why it is only at the number 8 spot. At number 7, we have Assassin's Creed Unity. Now from this point onwards, these are the games that I really liked. Assassin's Creed Unity had many things that I liked about it. The customization was very vast, giving us many weapons and costumes to choose from, which gave us a lot of options in combat. The combat system was much more challenging compared to the previous Assassin's Creed games, but once you got the hang of it, it became very fun to use. The parkour system was also a very nice change from Assassin's Creed 3 to Rogue. The French Revolution was also a very interesting setting to explore. However, this game still has a bit of flaws. The story was a bit mediocre, and there are still quite a few bugs in the game. Some co-op missions won't work properly when you play them with other people, which is quite a shame as the co-op missions were good in my opinion. Despite all of these flaws, there is still fun to be had here, and I appreciate this game for what it is. However, it isn't as good as the other games on the list. In the number 6 spot, we have the game that started it all, Assassin's Creed. What I love most about Assassin's Creed is how it set up this wonderful universe with its amazing story. It set up the whole conflict of the Assassins and Templars and introduced the Pieces of Eden, which made the story very cryptic, implying that there is much more to be learnt in the future. I really love the conversations between Altair and Al-Mualim as it brought more depth to the assassin ideology. The combat is satisfying and simple, and once mastered, you can make it sync better and have better combos. However, the thing that still holds this game back is its repetitive nature and structure. Saving civilians can be fun at first, but after a while it gets boring and repetitive. On top of that, collecting hundreds of flags for no reward is just simply tedious and not satisfying whatsoever. Despite these flaws, Assassin's Creed is a really good game that respects its lore, characters, and has fun gameplay, which is why it is at my number 6 spot. Coming in at number 5, we have Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Assassin's Creed Black Flag is a game I truly adore. The story is brilliant and its gameplay is brilliant. Seeing how Edward grew from being a selfish pirate to an assassin who cared more for the people around him was a very nice and well written journey that we embarked on with Edward. The lore of assassins and Templars was also very well respected in this game, and they portrayed it well. The naval combat was brilliant and the side activities were vast and very rewarding. It balanced the pirate side and assassin side very well in my opinion. However, this game still has some flaws. I did not like the modern day as much as it felt very different and not as interesting as the Desmond era. This led to the modern day losing its identity, which was very sad as I used to enjoy these segments once upon a time. The tailing missions could also be quite tedious and boring, and I did not like how there were quite a few of them in this game. Despite all of these flaws, Assassin's Creed 4 will always be one of my favorite games to play, as it had a very good narrative and gameplay experience. At number 4, we have Assassin's Creed Revelations. This is my favorite narrative of an Assassin's Creed game. The way they connected Altair, Ezio, and Desmond and concluded Altair's story as well as Ezio's was such an amazing moment that I will never forget. It showed how the Assassin and Templar fight will go on for so long and that it would outlast both Altair and Ezio, and they managed to connect that with both of them, which I really appreciate. The combat, the renovations, and the side quests were as good as the previous games, which was a joy. However, this game has some issues. The setting of Constantinople felt a bit dull and boring to me, and it was one of the weaker settings of the series. The tower defense was also a feature that did not need to be there, as it was just tedious and not fun. Despite all of this, Assassin's Creed Revelation provides the pinnacle of Assassin's Creed storytelling, which is why it is so high up on my list. At the number 3 spot, we have Assassin's Creed Origins. Assassin's Creed Origins was a breath of fresh air after games like Unity and Syndicate. AC Origins had a very good story, accompanied by an amazing protagonist. It developed Bayek very well, and I love his transition into a hidden one and the reasons that led to it in the first place. The gameplay was also something that I really liked, as it was satisfying and something new to the Assassin's Creed series. Another thing I also love about this game was the setting of ancient Egypt, which was very nice to explore and provided us with some of the best content of the game. For example, the tombs. However, there are some things that bog down this game, like them not going deep enough into the assassin lore and many of the side quests featuring characters that only show up once. However, these flaws are still not enough to bring down the enjoyment I had from playing this game and how good it was, which is why it is at my number 3 spot. At the number 2 spot, we have Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 2's story was amazing, as it began right after AC1 and managed to improve on almost everything in AC1. The missions in AC2 were less repetitive, more fun, and more diverse. They also built upon the story of AC1 and managed to link Altair and Ezio, which made for really good storytelling, which helped expand the lore. We were also given more assassin techniques and more weapons, which were a very nice and welcome addition, which helped make stealth and the missions more enjoyable. The only problems I have with it is how the tailing missions and combat were a bit tedious. However, despite these problems, AC2 still remains as one of my favorite ACs ever made due to its innovation and its amazing stories along with its amazing protagonists. And finally, at the number 1 spot, we have Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. The reason I have it at my number 1 spot is because it is the most enjoyment I have ever gathered from an Assassin's Creed game. I love the story of Ezio getting rid of the Borgia and building the assassins up as well as himself up. It was nice to see how much of a mistake he made when he spared Rodrigo Borgia, and seeing him learn from it was nice character growth, and it was nice to experience it as well. I also feel like this was the best the modern day ever was in Assassin's Creed. The combat was enjoyable even though it could get too easy at some points, but I love the recruit system and the renovation system, as it gave me much enjoyment and it was very well crafted. In my opinion, this AC game has the least flaws out of all the AC games, which is why I had the most fun out of all of it, which is also why it is at my number 1 spot. By the way, this ranking was just in my opinion, so I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And with that being said, this has been 2367 Ruben, signing out.